All right, this is take two of the 71st IWAR Gold Strategy Workshop. I'm Matt Riley, your host with less neck things. And Michael Cook, of course, is our IWA strategy guru. We are looking at the March cycle 2024. So this is episode 71. So we had a little power issue last time. So we're doing this over again. Thankfully, it was only at the beginning of the show. But we were talking about hold placement. So let's bang that out again, I guess.
Yep. Okay. So we'll do a little quicker even since
Right.
we talked about it. So basically, when we talk in here, the way I have it outlined in my chart is exactly how you should be placing 11 through 15. So your 11 and 12 should be the 44 and 43 that you pick. The 13 should be the 41 or 42. And then last cycle's 45s will be your 14 and 15. The only time that there's another way that you should do it is if a Fed hits 500 or below. But you won't know that in advance, so it's less risk to just keep going this way.
Right.
And that's when we go through in a minute. We'll talk about the difference between the last cycle's 45s because these three are automatic. Whichever 44 you pick, whichever 43, whichever 41. Your only real decision is of the two 45s you use, where should you place each one? That's the only real back change. On the front, a little tougher. Obviously, you got 10 holds to choose from if you get them all 10 right. So you got to use a few basic logics, like obviously hole 25 should never be at 10. It's clearly going to be a 29 or 30. Ruin your flow. Don't do that.
Right.
Um, the other holds, it's weird because if you look, it's pretty spread out between what hits 26s. Like I think last time I looked at a big sample, I think it was a 27, which would be really tough to guess. And I think if you ask people, they would never think of 27.
Okay.
But you'll have some things that are just a basic knowledge, like last cycle's 25s. You'll never get a 30 out of a 25, so you're already a little better than the guy with a 30. Most of the time, you'll have a 28 instead of a 29. So again, you're going to probably beat the people that have a 29 at 10. And if you pick the right one, typically one is below. It's usually like a 27 or a 26 itself. So it's not bad to always just go with the 25s.
Okay.
And same thing with the 30s. The 30s are probably a little more risk because it's pretty common that a 30 will be 29.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can get the right 30, then you should have a 27 or a 26. But a little tougher to pick right there.
Yeah.
That's typically where I'll lean is a 30 or a 25.
Well, it was funny last time because you post like BWL is up or something like that, and you put a screenshot of it, and I looked and I was like, didn't even look at league title, and I'm like, where's Gina? I didn't see her. And I'm like, I guess she'd make the title page, and then I look up, I'm like, oh, she has a league, so I was like, I'll see what she has. So I go to my spreadsheet and I'm like doing the math real quick, and I'm like, and I'm like, wait a minute, she's oh shit, she's 501. I was like, all right, crossing fingers. And then I remembered that I mirrored her strat. It was mirror. I always take like what I often do to kind of give myself a chance at a 501 is I'll take strats I'm very, very confident on. And one usually gets like a 41A, one gets a 41B, or 1, 2, whatever. And I was like, oh my God, Monstruck Tanaka has the same front 10, just scrambled, but the back 5 were the same. So then when PRL results came out and I saw League Hillbilly Kevin, I'm like, what the hell? And then I was like, damn you, Hillbilly Kevin. And what had happened at first was they had there was like the wrong strat for Tanaka. So he had a 490. And I'm like, this can't be right. So I did the research like on my own, which if you ever, anyone out there is a complaint about, like, you're like, oh my God, I thought I had a better strat. First thing you do is check your own files. See what you sent them, make sure they match up. I one time sent files to the CWL, and however I had like I think I hit a column by accident, and like my 10th holds were missing.
Yep, we've all
And
done something like that.
yeah, so I mean, like, things like that happen, but it's always better to do your stuff first before you go to Kim and go, Kim, how dare you? You cost me, you know? So,
Yeah, count your strat twice, double
mhm,
check your matches, and make sure that you signed the right match,
yes.
and then go ask them. Well, then no, there is a third step, and it's usually with multis. Look at the results and see how it played out. A lot of time, you go hit the 6 hole in a row rule, and you'll see that wasn't a finisher; it was just some random thing,
Palm strike.
or like, yeah, like you can kind of match up. Well, my team won by this, but because of that, they only won by 8 in this matchup. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's tough to see. But yeah, usually if you just look at the results, you get the real answer most of the time.
Right. So I emailed them and I said,
May
hey,
not be what you want, but
I said, I think there may have been a typo. Tanaka should have a 501, not a 490. So they came back. Oh, you were right. Let us redo it. And I was like, all right, this is it. I'm gonna win the league title. And it comes up again, and Hillbilly Kevin, still league champ. I'm like, damn it. So like when I saw you get a 501, I'm like, oh, and that's the thing, is that happens sometimes. And we had a lot of high scores last cycle. Last couple cycles, because of high scores. Um, which is a good thing. But that's what happens sometimes. You block each other. And that's part of the game. It really is. Um, so Tanaka won TV, and I thought, oh, he's gonna win US. Nope, nope, no, no US. But that's okay. Those things happen. You get like a really good score, but someone else beat you to it.
yeah.
Um, so I'll keep plugging away. But I was still happy to
But you
win.
still ended up with what, women's world,
Yeah, my first
elite, hardcore.
hardcore. I think it's my second, maybe. I know Lucha had it, and elite. I think it was 5 or 6.
7th or 8th,
I,
right?
I double checked and it was like, oh, it
Okay.
is. That's kind of cool. But it was more about winning the women's championship. Like, all right, great. Now that's
Mhm.
cool. So yay BWL. Because if we do it again, is it our 10 free matches? I forget how we did it set up.
Mhm. Yep, we would get it. Yep,
So
got to win. I think it's 10 or 15, but I think it's 10.
yeah.
Is 10 what the men's league gets? Okay, then it's 10. Yeah.
Well, I meant
Yep. You
I
just got to
don't
go
hit the
back to
thing
back.
that if the women's champion comes in the BWL 2 cycles in a row.
Yeah, so it's the back to back. Yeah. Then we get what the men's league would get every cycle, which is 10 free.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So and
But we
this
don't get it every cycle because there's, like what, 8 leagues going for it. So it'd be a
right.
lot of matches.
And yeah. So, I mean, good timing, really. Beat the Girls Gone Wild cycle, made it so the VWL qualified for the elite, or however it works, so yay.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. So,
So make sure you watch where you put your holes, guys. So anyways, all right. So that's that. Do we want to talk about, before we get too much into it? Do you want to do the
I
hold?
guess I do want to point out my lead, or my less quality strat. It did win gold fed, so because of that chain of you getting beat, I won with,
Mishaps, yes.
well, mine was much worse than yours,
So I'm gonna
but it
tell
was
right
better
now, I
than
want,
Billy Kevin.
all right, Hillbilly Kevin, stop watching these shows.
So, so
NWL
he
guys,
helped me out.
just play double 30s as a drop. Just do that. NWL guys, get out of the way.
Yeah, I will say, out of that little bit we have at the end, though, yeah, that was 2 of the last 3 that I've had 501s. So,
Yeah.
yep,
Get,
we're going pretty good,
getting
which
our
means we're
shots.
probably due for a really bad cycle in the next few. But we'll live with it. We've
I
got the 501s that we wanted. So,
I do need to mention this. So I work with a guy who was in NWL. His name's Tim. And I didn't know him. And he works at Trader Joe's. I work at Trader Joe's. And this is back when he was in NWL. He was like, we were talking, and he was like, oh, I work at Trader Joe's. I'm like, oh, I work at Trader Joe's. He's like, which one? I'm like, I work in Peabody. He's like, I work in Saugus, which is like 5 miles from each other, 8 miles, whatever it is. And I was like, really? So one day when I was a manager for a while, so I was covering that store for one of their things, and he comes up behind me and I hear, Kaizen. And it was Tim. And he ran Outlaw John Nash, who was he won the elite belt in 2018 or 19, I forget which one it was. And so I'm just telling a long story to make the point that we talk about wrestling a bunch of us at work now because we work in the same store. And one of the guys who's a wrestling fan, uh, Adam, was like, I was talking about this, and he's like, "What are you guys talking about?" So I started telling him, and like, really, I put play out of it on a piece of paper. I'm like, "Go check it out, and you'll see just how nerdy I really am." And so he might watch this show. So, hello, Adam, if you're watching. I'm sorry you had to see this horrific display of nerdiness, um, but I am all elite. He hates AEW. So, anyways, that's what's going on as far as a background story. So, anyways, getting back to our options here. So, how
No
bad's
more
it?
questions? Got any more questions, or was that it? Just talking about flu?
That was the big question. I mean, the 25s we'll talk about later, anyways. But
Okay.
that was the big question about flows. I thought it's good to
Yeah.
kind of like talk. And one of these days we will do the workshop intro basic one over again.
Yeah.
So,
You just gotta tell me.
yeah, I know. I gotta like.
Otherwise, I won't do it.
I know.
So you just tell me.
I'm gonna sneeze. Yeah. So,
All right.
ow.
So, for the cycle that it is, this is the one where we don't get to cut things out over hold 25. Hold 90 doesn't cut anything out. We're actually in a really good spot. Um, the reason I say that is first on the back, we assumed last cycle we could use 41s because the first two went, and it held true that it was just a cycle of
Yeah.
41s every single time. We're still in that, and we know from the past couple years as you look through here, if it starts out that way, you just go with it, and you're gonna probably hit. Could they mix one up? Yes, but that it's not really happened. So you should assume if the first two are the same, use that in gold. So we will use a 41. And what that does, it takes the 16 possible backs down to 8. And that's literally half of our combinations are gone.
Yeah.
We got pretty lucky that the first two feds really helped us out because Iron took away 29, 28, all 4 options. And you see, that would have been a pretty good one. It's not happened in 11 cycles here. So
Yeah.
get rid of that. 2 cycles ago, we got the 29, 27. So that is gone. Gold last cycle was 28, 26. Again, you'll notice so far we took away 2 that had 4 options. This one had 4 options and it goes away.
Yeah.
And still also took over a 4 option one of 27, 26. So that is 16 that went away just from the first 2 feds and the last 2 golds.
Yeah.
Literally more gone than are left.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say the same thing I've said for a while, and I'll say all year. I'm not going to take 26s. You see, it happened 4 ago, but it happened, what, was it 2 or 3 times last year?
Yes. It happened the first
I can't
cycle too,
remember.
isn't
There's
it?
at least 2, which, yeah. So it's happened more than it should have. I would assume this is going to get up somewhere around like this 27s, the 18. So I'm not going to be using that anytime soon. So we'll get rid of that. And that leaves us already with 10 combinations.
Damn.
You got 29 26s, 28 27s,
Mm-hmm.
and you got 2 of the doubles, the 28s and the 27s.
Yeah.
Now, we joked literally over a year about when 28s would hit.
Right.
And if you recall, it was over 30 the last 2 times in between. So do you think we'll get one anytime soon? I think it's probably close to the 26s that I would avoid this for a while,
Mm,
and
yeah.
yeah. So
Boom.
I'm out on those, and you're probably going to start hearing a lot of people talk about 27s, and I think we're going to probably be in a. Let's see. I'm just look back at 27. So we're on 18 now. It was 923. 18. So it probably will happen sometime in the next few cycles.
Mm-hmm.
A little tough to go all in on that. I don't know
Right.
if I would do that, but it's starting to become an option. It's kind of like the 28s when we talked about it. And
Right.
if you go with it, you have a good chance of having some bad cycles, and then you'll have a good one eventually. But
Right.
um, just a little more risk in it. But it's sort of in the range of when it starts to happen. So yeah, you'll see one soon. No idea when, but it's it's there. It's an option.
Yeah.
Take it if you want. Um, he said it's the only one I'll use those on is if I've got a few extra. I would not put that as a top combination.
Okay.
But yeah, we're sitting at 9, and we really haven't done anything. Um, we luckily guessed right on the whole 2 cycles ago 25s, but now we're back to the
Yes,
weird
no, yes,
pattern
no, yeah.
of yes, no. Yeah. So are we going to actually see 2 yeses, or are we just going to see the pattern continue?
Right.
And that's probably where you can obviously, it's 5 versus 4, so that's about an even split.
Yeah.
Um, I'm probably going to lean towards using a yes, but I need to think about that a little more.
Well, do we notice if the 8s or 59s are in the three-peat region when it comes to like their
Don't recall. Let's see. Yeah.
that's one way I was
So
that
no
way.
here. You see. 59 no as well.
Right. So hmm.
Yeah. No. Now when it comes up on 53 in 2 cycles, yes, we would assume that's not going to happen again. So just try to make that mental note. I say that and then look back at it. It was one of the rare ones that did it.
Right. Well, so what I've been doing to kind of
Yeah.
like, break things down is to look at, okay, well, what were they last?
Mhm.
What were they 2 cycles ago? How often do they repeat a hold? Like, 29, 25, 29 versus like 27, 25, 20, like, how often?
Mm.
Yeah. And sometimes I just go with like my gut, but uh, you
Hmm.
know, last cycle it was a thing where I was trusting my gut and it paid off. Um, the the belt for the contest is paid for. Thanks, Elite. Um, but no, I mean, like you said, it's a thing about going yes or no on the 25. That really, really divides it.
Hmm.
Um,
Yep.
we have one, two, so one, two, one, two, three with eights.
Yeah.
Three
The
with
big
five.
thing that you cut is these two right here, the 46 and 46. You see, has just been a pretty good hold.
Mm-hmm. Uh-oh. Or has
Tough
it?
to say. That's actually been. I think it has.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it's gonna be tough to break this down. So I
Mm-hmm.
think you have to try to lean in one way or the other. And like I said, I'm gonna go with a yes, just assuming this has to break.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's just not something we'd obviously seen before. We've seen it more clustered if it was one way or the other. So
All right.
I'll go that way just to make a decision because otherwise I'm going to be looking at the individual holds like that and trying to make guesses. So I'd rather try to make that guess and cut
So
it down.
you're gonna go with the 25 does drop again.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like I said, I'm probably not going to take the 27s unless if I get to a back I really like to where I can cut it down more, but I prefer to use more backs and like I might use all four of these in green up here
Mm-hmm.
and then try to do two backs or three backs. Uh, so yeah, we'll come back to that, but that's pretty much the front.
Okay.
You see, like I said, these haven't happened too recently. 6 ago, 7 ago. The double was 18 ago. Last cycle, nothing hit 29, 26. Bronze had 28, 27. Jade had the 27s. So that's kind of the front information.
Yeah.
So on the back, we know there's 8 options because we're going to go with a 41.
Right.
Um, talking about last cycle's 45s, so you'll notice the weaker one, so the one that went 43,
Mm-hmm.
45, it's went to 44 the last 2 cycles.
Right.
And that's not very common because of hold 90.
Right.
Um, the only way this works is if it happens on the off cycle, and then 90 has to go to 43, which
Right.
doesn't happen a lot. Right now, 90 is a 45, and it just had a 43. I'm just guessing, but we'll look back through. I don't think it's ever went 43, 45, 43.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still not seeing one. So
Right.
I think you're pretty safe to put
Right. Lock it
that.
in. Lock it in.
Yep,
Lock of the week. The IWAR lock of
right there.
the
What's the other one? The other one is 73.
73.
So 73 would be here. And just off that, we hopefully have the back of our point flow locked in solid. So,
Nice.
but yeah, you'll notice, like I said, that's pretty rare. Couple other feds they can have, like I think see Jade's been it's been going a little more aggressive on that whole 4390 thing. But that is not true in gold.
Okay.
Gold is a traditional fed.
Mm.
All right, so then if we look here, it's going to be a little tougher to narrow these down to.
Mm-hmm.
So the 41s, which I think we've done probably better than we should, just kind of looking at the 41s and guessing how they're going to go. I feel like we're not using the most solid statistical stuff, but we've actually hit it several times. Looking at it, to like 67, you see it's had 2 down, and it's actually pretty uncommon to see 3 in a row from it. We have to go back
Mm-hmm.
to here.
Right.
So that's not a bad sign on 67. 65, we see that it was a 41 off of 1,
Mm.
and it's done okay off the 41s as well. See right here, this is the exact.
Right.
So yeah, they both look decent. There's a 43 actually. I don't really see one as a 44 over the other. So I'll probably try to take a mixture of both 41s and not pick one. Meaning I have to figure out something on 44 and 43s to get them narrowed down. If you look through, like I said, the used to be an even better assumption, but it's rare that the 44-2 and 43-2 hit.
Mm-hmm.
But it's actually happened enough to where wouldn't be surprised that it happens. It's not been what, 5, 6 cycles ago.
Yeah.
You see that's kind of the spaced out of where it's going to be. So I don't think we can even rule that out this time.
Right.
Um, yeah, this is going to be a little tougher on this part, just narrowing this down. Because, yeah, like I said, I feel a little better about cutting up here.
Right.
But yeah, I'm gonna have to end up keeping a little more back here on these. I think I definitely want to use both 41s though, and not pick one of them. So I'll have to go with the 43s or the 44s, and uh, probably drop one of those. Like, look at 85. This has been one of the worst holds that they've had.
Right.
Like it's literally not chained together 2 quality cycles in years. I mean, this is how many cycles is this? 47. That's basically a little over 2.5 years, almost 3, right?
Yeah.
We go back a little more. I think, yeah, if you want to make an assumption, probably cut this one.
Yeah. 85 is funny because it looks like, the closest it came
Yeah.
to being good was every other,
Yeah. I mean, eventually that's going to be wrong, but if you can make that an assumption and say we did all these times here, it would have been right more than being wrong. So if you want to eliminate something, eliminate 85. That would be my guess. So basically, I just guaranteed 85 will be good. But no. So yeah, if we eliminated 85 and we used
66.
66,
Right.
and we're gonna have both 41 options here, then we could probably keep both 43s and go with like two backs up here, and then pick. So say I have 6. What I typically like to do, I don't want to make an additional guess on the back, so I'll probably kind of look these 2 over,
Yep.
and I'll try to just lock in on which one I like, and I'll use these 2 fronts,
Right.
and then I'll go a step further and try to pick which one I like the most. So we'll call this A and this B. So
Right.
if I have 6 wrestlers, I'll use A 4 times and B 2 times. And then I would go down here with the 4 options, and I'd put that over A. And then I try to decide which of the 41s I like a little more, and I'll put those 2 on the B. And that's how I would do 6 in this case.
Okay.
So, yeah, so really, you just got to make, let's say, 4 decisions. The first is if you like the yes or the no to cut this down, and then probably cut this, or just go all in on this one if you want, but wouldn't do that. And then down here, we made that decision. If you think it's wrong, completely flip it. But if we make that, then we just have the decision of which 43 and which 41. So that gets
Easy,
quick.
right? Everyone can get a
even if you took
501.
these 4, yeah, if you took this step back and then you just said this was your decision, that's only 32 total possibilities. 32, 20% chance of 501 if we're right on just the basic assumptions. So, yeah, I think that's it though.
All right. Nowhere to go but up. Yeah. It's again, it's the thing where it looks like an easy cycle. It should be an easy cycle, but will it be?
Yeah, like I said, it's It's actually pretty rare that we get to cut 4 sets of 4 out of the top.
Right.
But yeah, we did it this time, so
All right.
I'm happy with that. So,
Well,
like I said, I
as
feel pretty good.
always, Gold Tuesday is coming. I'm gonna try to get this out in the next hour or so. Yeah, it's 11:30 on Thursday right now, but again, we didn't
Mm-hmm.
do this over because of the glitch. Um,
Yep.
yeah, and of course, don't forget to like and subscribe. I always kind of laugh. It's like every month I get a bulletin from YouTube, and it's like, you have one new subscriber. Yeah. Mm. But there's also at the end of this video, there's a link to the multi-man video, which Darren, Mike, and I did. So you can check that out too. But take these into account. Do what you want with them. This is just information. I wouldn't put money on FanDuel on it, but we'll do our best and hopefully have another windfall of scores. Any last tips?
No, I will say if we do miss, don't get discouraged. We'll do the exact same thing next cycle, and it'll work. Because
That's
that's
right.
kind of the thing with IWA. There's not many 100% things, but there's a lot of 60s and 70s that we're using. So we're going to be right more than not, and we've been right 2 out of 3. So
That's right.
like I said,
All right. So there you go, guys. Good luck. As always, put your comments below. You can comment with questions too. If you have a question come up as you're watching it, pause it, put the question in the comment, and then we'll try to respond to it next time. So I guess that's all she wrote. We're good.
yep, I'm good.
All right. Well, good luck, everybody, and I'll catch you in 3 weeks.
All right, see you.
Thanks, man.